Popping. Melanated family. How's everybody doing, man? It's your brother Harrison back for a brand new episode, Melanated Convo Podcast. Let's get into it, man. Hit the like button, subscribe, follow your boy. And as you can see today, I'm going at this thing solo. You know what I mean? Brand new episode of the Melanated Convo Podcast. I'm doing the thing by myself today. No guest. On Thursday, of course, we'll have my sister Sonia. Um, but today I'm doing this thing dolo, man. So how's everybody doing out there? Happy to be back. Again, subscribe to the platform, family. You can either do it on YouTube. The Melanated Convo on YouTube is how you can locate the show. You can do it on Facebook. Follow me, Harrison Anderson, on Facebook. That's where those are the two places the shows are live. The following day, you can always find the show on all of the digital platforms. So if you have Spotify or Overcast or Apple Podcasts, all these different places, that's where you can find the show the following day. But let's get into it, man. Like I said, I'm doing this thing solo. This your boy Harrison. A few things I want to touch on today. So we're going to talk about the John Morant situation. We're going to talk about Chris Rock and all the backlash that brother is getting about that special, and the love too. You know what I mean? And a few other things I had on my mind, man. But we're going to get to it, family. First things first, though, right? So this past Sunday, like one of my cousins, one of my older cousins passed away. I have to admit I wasn't that close with her. I was close with her children, my auntie, right? You know, a lot of different things going on in our family, right? But this is my family, and my cousins threw a going away for her, as far as, you know, setting everything up in the spot that she would feel comfortable and just have fun. And man, look, I'm in a building with so many of my cousins that I grew up with that we don't see each other now for whatever reason, right? We could put it on, I could put it on me being busy, I could put it on them being busy, but for whatever reason, we just never made it happen, right? But just to see all of my family that I grew up with in one building was like a beautiful thing, y'all. It was a beautiful thing. And it made me feel like shit in the same token, because I'm an individual that hates the phone. Like when I say I don't like talking on phones, I've spent so many years in corporate America talking on phones, and I don't like talking on the phone, right? So I'll think about a family member. I'll have them in my mind. I'll have them in my thoughts, but I won't call them. Ain't that some bullshit? I do that a lot. Some people I do text. That's something I can do better as well, even texting. I think a call should happen every now and again, but texting is cool too. But man, look, this whole I meet up with family when somebody died shit needs to stop. Like, can't we all agree? And everybody is subject to it. Everybody, I'm speaking strictly for our community. I think this happens to all people, just to be honest. But I'm speaking about black folks right now. We get into this shit where life gets hard for us, or we're going through life, or we're dealing with whatever we have right in front of us, rightfully so. But somewhere along those lines, we don't do a good job communicating with people. We don't do a good job reaching out to people. This happens way too much. And we all have those individuals in our family who do a great job at mending fences, just calling and sitting on the phone with you, communicating, basically. You see what I'm saying? But something happened, right? Like think about it. My family is from the South, right? When my family first got here, late 70s, my opinion, the southern states have more of a traditional black experience, just as far as how they conduct themselves, how they believe in family. Once everybody start going north, once everybody start going west, a lot of times the unity broke up, because when my family first got here, we would meet in certain environments, whether it be 4th of July, Thanksgiving. We made sure everybody got together. That shit don't happen as much as it used to. And that's commonplace for a lot of families. So everybody out there, man, and we say this a lot, and it's damn near cliche at times, but reach out to people you love. It's one thing to have them in your thoughts, in your prayers, and think about them and, you know, wish them well. But it's another thing to actually reach out to see how somebody's doing. Try to create some sort of bond. Because what I've also learned after losing my dad at 8, losing my mom at 19, I learned that relationships are about commonality too. So if it's going to be someone you're talking to all the time and you speak to a lot, you're around a lot, you have to create some commonalities um to make it feasible. That's why people are friends, right? Because they have shit in common. Sometimes you can have a brother or a sister or an auntie that you love, but you ain't got shit in common. Excuse me. So when you talk to them, the conversation may be surface. The conversation may not be about much, but people who are better at communicating, they'll ask questions, they'll probe, they'll do the best job they can at like mending the fences so then you can communicate with somebody. Find something you do have in common with them. You know what I mean? So you can have a conversation and you can build with them. That's just what I feel. But the bottom line is, y'all, fuck with your family, man. If you got family members who you haven't spoke to in a long time, or you guys are on the outs for a certain reason, or y'all don't get together on holidays or weekends or whenever the fuck, try to fix that. You feel me? This your brother Harrison, Melanated Convo. Had to speak on that, man, because I love my family, but I don't reach out to people enough. And that's just a fact. So if that's your problem, fix that shit. So let's get into it, man. We're gonna talk about a few different news stories going on in our community. You feel me? Like I said, man, I'm doing this thing solo today. I ain't did a solo show in like shit 2 or 3 months almost, but I'm capable though. You feel me? So let's get into it. Now, I've been seeing a lot of things going around about this young brother, John Morant. John Morant, Memphis Grizzly player, right? 23 years old, great basketball player, on his way to being one of the greats, right? This brother finds himself in a situation where he showed a gun in a club, a bar, something to this magnitude. To my understanding, he's done other things involving guns or just, silly shit young people do, right? So the first thing I'm gonna think always when I see a young black man like this, like, look, I understand, brother. You in your early 20s, you a black man in America. You've been handing a shitload of money. Some people I see online giving their opinion, rightfully so. I don't get mad when I see people give their opinion. Like, that's what some of these platforms are for, right? But people not realizing, because I'm 43 years old, about to be 43 this year. Look, man, you give me shit 60 million when I'm 22 years old. I don't know what the fuck I'm gonna be doing. I couldn't tell you I'm not gonna do something that would make a adult or any type of authority figure look at me a little funny, like, let me correct that. You see what I'm saying? So this brother's gonna make mistakes. A lot of our athletes and entertainers have made mistakes coming across this much money being this young. This is really what is this is how it happens. All of them don't. Some of them listen, right? Because that's a part of it. People are coming at this young man's father, which I don't like. Some of these Stephen A be getting on my nerves sometimes. You know what I mean? Like how he approached certain shit. When I don't appreciate that, because this young man's father, if he kicking it, if he getting money now, this is probably new money. We don't come from wealth. So a lot of these families you seeing balling hella hard and doing all this shit some people may not agree with, they just now coming across money. How you think they're gonna act, right? That's in one. I say that in one hand because I honestly believe that about a lot of young men in our community who come into money and find themselves in all these fucked up situations. And a lot of it is based on inexperience, not being able to go to a family member or someone around you to help you. And then a lot of young people is just hard-headed as hell, right? Because if John Morant is in the position to take care of his whole family, who knows who he can listen to now? He may not be listening to his pops as much. He may not be listening to an uncle or someone around who telling him, little nigga, why would you show a gun on Instagram? People coming down on him, but I'm sure his family and the people around him, like, we have to believe that they gonna come down on him and tell him, look, no reason to have all that gang shit and gun propaganda. Another thing I was gonna say, as black folks, we got to start looking at ourselves and say, okay, how much is hip hop affecting everything we looking at? Like, how much is some of the cultural norms we've created based on what's happened to us? Like, hip hop was created out of agitation. It was created out of rebellion. But when we look at the commercialization of it now, some of this shit, right? It's almost like the soundtrack for a lot of what these young men are thinking and doing. And it's almost like a spell too. Look, and this is just now, because when I was younger, early teens, 20s, I thought about shit a little bit differently. Now, when I'm looking at the hip hop and I'm listening to the younger dudes, I'm thinking, damn, this is we love the beat and we love the energy of the music sometime, but this shit is violent. Like this shit is extremely unproductive. Even though some young men is talking about their life and what they've been through in their experiences, you can't negate that. Like it is art, but at some point we're gonna have to look at hip hop. Like, look, the messaging and how we approach it gonna have to change soon because it's affecting everybody. You know, people are posting a lot about how John Morant was raised with his dad, raised with his mom, maybe a kid that was in the suburbs. I'm not sure of the dynamics of his house, but if so, this is what's happening. I used to think if you have a black kid who don't live in the hood but listen to hip hop, he is going to take things differently because he's not like the white kid. He doesn't have a general connection to the music and the culture. If you black, even if you're in the suburbs, there's still like a general connection. There's still family members and people around you that may keep you connected to that element. You see what I'm saying? And when teenagers get that music, sometimes they embody too much of it. It goes from dancing to it to living by some of the mantras, right? Some of the shit they talking about in the music, thinking some of the shit in the music is normal. This is actually really affecting our young men. Because look, you evolve and you change. I was under the impression that one time, look, if you have a young black man that live in the hood, listening to hip hop without supervision and people around to say, hey, here's some education, here's what this really means. If you don't have that, then they can they can listen to the music and see the environment they live in and see they're mirroring one another and think it's okay to participate, think they're supposed to participate. Like the hip hop at times, the violent hip hop, the hip hop that's graphically violent is the soundtrack a lot of young niggas use to go do negative shit. You see what I'm saying? So yeah, it's an art form and we love it, and it comes from our struggle and what we've been through and what we've seen. But at some time, at some point, this shit gonna have to pivot. Like with social media and cameras everywhere, criminality is not the same as it used to be on no levels. You see what I'm saying? And now they giving these young niggas mafia laws. You see what I'm saying? They playing by mafia rules for a lot of these young niggas, giving them these RICO laws, which is really look. I'm against our young black men killing each other in conducting themselves in a certain way. At this point, I know our history. I know what we've been through. I'm gonna be a little empathetic, but I'm tired of this shit. But when it's the government involved, it's always like, because Young Thug and all these dudes, they could have been wrong. They could have been experiencing having a lot of money for the first time. So I'ma still conduct myself like I used to, just now bigger. If I was a gangster with no money, you give me money, some shit may end up happening, right? So some of these things can be wrong, but RICO charges, conspiracy, like we had an organization popping, like we had hella tiers of an organization. Nah, we not. I'm not saying some of these black gangs or black organizations aren't wise and conduct themselves in a way that's like they think before they do shit. I'm not saying that, but it ain't no mafia shit. See, this is just a way to get a hell of niggas at one time. See, so even though I'm against watching young black men get money and fuck their life off, I'm against that. I don't think you should maneuver around that, right? But at the same time, the government, the law, has found a way to criminalize black men in general, nigga. Like, keep it real. Whether that be hip hop, whether that be finances, whether that be education, whether that be if you're an entertainer, if you box, if you play a sport, they figured out ways to criminalize us by using different means. I'm not letting us off the hook, but we got to be aware of that. You feel me? So we're talking about the brother John Morant going through everything he going through, and I pray for the young brother. Like that's my young brother, and I love him. But street culture is killing our babies, hood babies and suburban babies. You know what I mean? Like I used to think it was just you live in the hood and you a black child, you're subject to taking this music seriously and internalizing it, seeing what's happening outside and do some of the same shit. Well, no, all black kids, because let's be honest, white kids listen to the same music in suburbs as well. Sometimes they don't internalize it. They don't say, okay, he's speaking about having a gun, I gotta have one. That's not really their reality. So we have to be honest and acknowledge how this shit is affecting our young men. You see? But I think he'll get over this. I think coming at him too egregious is foul because he is a 23-year-old young man and he may be experiencing the first bout of wealth in his entire family. And if you're not from our community, if you're not from that type of situation, then it'll be difficult for you to give me um too much harsh criticism for that young brother, because I'm sure the people around him looking at the money he about to make told him that was some faulty shit. Like that was some shit he shouldn't have did. Showing a gun on camera is definitely something you shouldn't do. And like people are mentioning, having the people around you, that's a fact. You should have somebody around you that you trust enough to say, stop what you're doing right now. Somebody that can tell you about yourself that you trust. That's easier said than done, though, if you the breadwinner and you ain't even 25 yet. See? So we have to keep this type of shit in perspective when speaking about this young brother. So let's hope he get it together, man. He's in the position where he can feed generations of his family if he do it the right way. That is a great position to be in. But who knows? Maybe people around him have been telling him, hey, stop doing this, stop doing that. This could be the situation that changes him. You feel me? So shout out to the young brother, John Morant. Shout out to his pops. At least he had a pops. You feel me? Everybody talking this shit about his daddy should not be kicking with him, shouldn't be doing shit with him. Look, his pops is there and he's in the NBA. I'm sure he had a hand in helping and guiding his child. I support that black family. You feel me? But this street shit and how young black men are articulate and internalize what they see in the street needs to change. Like street culture, selling dope, all this shit a lot of men had to do because of their situation. I sympathize with it. Members of my family had to. I understand how that can provide for a family on some real shit. You see? But going forward, looking at where we at in 2023, it has to be a transitional stage, and we have to have the older black men, 35 and over, 30 and over, talking to young dudes real. You don't have to preach to them, but you have to let them know this shit has to come to an end. Some of the shit you're doing wasn't made to last 20 years, nigga. You're going to end up dying or going to jail forever, which is a slow death. You see? So then we have more black men off the street. We have more black men not available to raise their kids. We have the cycle continuing. So just like me and my brother Jermaine Morris was talking about last week, sometimes as black men, we got to take a step back and say, what I'm doing in my community and everything around me, am I building or destroying? Am I building something or am I destroying something? Because if I'm selling dope to people, if I'm operating on the wrong side of the law with certain measures that I'm using, this can negatively affect a lot of people, not just you, but your family, the people around you. Let's think about it. Let's be smart. We're glamorizing. Look, gangster mentality, gangster movies, a lot of that shit is just in the movies, man. Some of that shit don't happen like that in real life. In real life, it's some nigga doing something crazy in the street and 17 people getting affected. Whether it be how they eat, whether it be financially, whether it be the presence of said man, whether it be the future of that man, because now he gone and his kid gonna see him in jail and the cycle gonna continue. This shit ain't funny. You see what I'm saying? So the street culture, we need to recontextualize how we teach it, how we view it. Music is art and it's just music. Leave that shit there. If we have an individual telling his life story on a beat, that's his goddamn life. You got to teach your kids that. That's his life. That ain't got nothing to do with you. You feel me? So shout out to the brother John Morant. Shout out to his family. I'm sure he'll get back to playing basketball like everybody want him to. But, young black men in America, man, sometimes you do stupid shit. Just some of us didn't have 60 million in the bank when we did it. You feel me? Now, next thing I want to talk about, Chris Rock. And this was funny to me because Chris Rock Keon, what's up, my guy? Chris Rock special came out, speaking about everything, great comedy special. I seen a lot of people, surprised that he spoke about Will Smith and he spoke about Jada. And again, the comedy special is called Selective Outrage. It was on Netflix. It did some shit where it was live or something, which I've never seen on Netflix, which was dope. The comedy special was thorough. right? But comedy is subjective. Some of the jokes you be like, that's not for me. But ultimately, great comedy special. And look, here's the thing, right? What Jada and Will got going on, nobody know. We know what happened with August Alsina, but we don't know like all the details behind all that shit. But the bottom line is, he put his hands on this man. So let's just keep it real one time. Like I'm moving in a very conscious direction, like in my life. That's what I feel, right? You know what I mean? That's how I give it up every day, right? But if a nigga slap you, what you supposed to do, right? He didn't brawl with him right there, which a lot of men said they would have, which would have made the situation 10 times worse for both of them. Can we all agree? If Chris Rock would have chased him after he slapped him, nigga, and tackled him and did all kind of, the Oscars would have been canceled for the night, and both of them would have been worse off, right? So let's look at the options here, because let's be man, this just general man shit. A nigga slap you on TV. I'm not gonna lie, man. I'm not that evolved yet, y'all. I gotta do something. I don't know, something. But the best thing I can do, because what I'm gonna do, see him at the next Oscars, see the nigga at the BET Awards, attack him. We 50 plus. Stop it, right? That's not gonna happen when you become an older man. But if I'm an artist, right? If I'm an artist, I'm gonna use my art to defend myself. Nigga, you slapped me on TV. Now, if it was in a if it was in like a Oscars party, then little after parties where paparazzi kind of knew, but not, so nobody really, maybe something like that, you take a different stand slightly. But you slapped me on TV, my guy. You slapped me on TV. And how Chris Rock responded, I think, all jokes aside, how Chris Rock responded, in my opinion, family, was brilliant. He spoke about the elephant in the room. All of us watched what happened. Like I said earlier, we don't know Will and Jada's relationship, but see, this is the beauty of these platforms where people talk, because your heroes, excuse me, family, your heroes, people you look up to, celebrities, they get on these mics and talk, right? So Jada was on the red table talking. She mentioned about the entanglement. We all heard that she was involved with this young man, right? We all heard all type of media pundits speaking on what they saw happening to them, their interpretation of what was going on. You see what I'm saying? Everybody's seen that. So because of that, everybody responded. Everybody said how they felt, right? Everybody talked about it. That was the normal thing. It was kind of a running joke for a second, right? So Will Smith, I understand that brother's perspective. He was frustrated. Niggas talking about my wife. Everybody talking about everything I'm doing. He's frustrated. You see? But you got to direct your energy in the right place. See, sometimes you blow up and emotions take over and you do something, but I think everything is with thought too. Because I was I was talking to this dude earlier online when I posted Chris Rock's the cover for his special and spoke about it. Some of the responses I got was I was like, damn, okay. I know some motherfuckers felt like that. You see what I'm saying? But me and this dude is talking about, hey, look, he slapped this man on stage. He can talk about whatever he want to talk about after that. If you want to bring up the fact that what happened before and what we all saw, because listen to me, hear me clearly, and I guarantee you this. Like I'm damn near completely sure it is. If 50 Cent was on stage, if 50 Cent was on the stage and said the same joke, Will Smith wouldn't have ran up there. Will Smith would. If Michael Jai White was on the stage and said that same joke, Will Smith wouldn't have ran up there. See? So he know what kind of black man to test. And in my opinion, family, if Jerry Seinfeld would have said that fucking joke, he wouldn't have ran up there. Right? If one of them prominent white men said that joke, he wouldn't have said that, or he wouldn't have ran up there. Nah, family, that's not Will Smith's character. He was out of character. The dude I was talking to earlier told me, nah, whoever was up there would have got it that night. I highly doubt that. because that was an emotional response. Why was it an emotional response? Because he laughed. I said this when the shit happened. And I talked about it when the shit happened. This is real. We can't make this up. Like, this is what we're looking at. Fuck their personal business. When the joke happened, Will Smith laughed. Then he looked at his woman, and his woman put the battery in his back, which a lot of niggas is dead right now today. A lot of niggas is dead because they woman put a battery in their back. See, because you're not thinking clearly on your own. You're not thinking logistically, like where we at, what we doing, what's going on, who is this, what is it from? Because Chris Rock mentioned, he mentioned there's no beef between them two. She wanted him to not say a joke about something. This is his perspective from what happened. But Will Smith, and I still respect that brother. I watched the new movie Emancipation. Like, I didn't lose no respect from Will Smith from having that lapse in judgment. But to say Chris Rock can't respond to some shit that happened to him on TV. See? The shit happened to him on TV. What am I supposed to do as a man? Let it slide? I know some of niggas would say, yeah, I would let it slide. I'm going to learn from it. On television, and we're both famous, and I'm traveling around the country, everybody talking about the shit, giving me sympathy and empathy and all this shit. No, I'm going to hit him where it hurts. I'm going to hit him where it hurts because I got a mic. See, nigga, you got a movie script. Nigga, you got a script that somebody wrote for you. I got a mic where I can say what I want to say. I win. He's one of the greats. Look, if Chris Rock would have did that special and not addressed Will Smith, everybody would have been like, what the fuck was that? It was, thank you, but what the fuck was that? He had to address the elephant in the room, and he did that. All the shit that's going with Will Smith and Jada, that is their business, but jokes are jokes, and you can't be selective about how you choose to do shit. Yeah, that was a moment where he blew up, but some niggas, he noticed. Some niggas he would have went on that stage with, and they would have towed that motherfucker up. He know that. But here's the thing about Will Smith. See, I know he works out. I'm not seeing him speak, and I know this is a motivated brother, right? But he really not from Bad Boys. Like, these movies is fucking movies. Let's keep this real. Sometimes we see niggas be cool in movies. It's kind of a script, fam. He's kind of acting, right? So we can't take him as face value. We don't know what kind of man they would be in the street or when it comes to something real, because you're acting. Somebody gave you a script to say all them nigga lines. You know what I mean? And that's some real shit. You see? So I love Will Smith. I love Jada. Chris Rock deserved that. He deserved that. That's my payback. Can I see this? We're 50 plus. Can I see this nigga in the streets and put hands on him? As Chris Rock making all this? Stop it. So what I'm going to do? And he called him a bitch 19 times. He shoulda. See, you put your hands on me. Respect is out the window, fam. I'm calling everybody around you names. You put your hands on me. I can't defend myself. If I harm you, we're famous. I'm going to go to jail, right? So we can't expect him to do some stupid street shit. So the best resolve of that situation is Will slapping him not doing nothing, him speaking about it now. Best possible scenario. Now they should just leave it alone, right? I'm sure Chris and Jada won't say nothing. There's nothing you can say. You put your hands on it, man. You violate him. You feel me? So shout out to Chris Rock. Shout out to Will Smith. Like I said, I love Will Smith. I've seen like recent interviews from Will Smith. Very important brother in our culture. He just had a lapse in judgment, y'all. You know what I mean? Lapse in judgment. Now, before I get out of here, thank you for tuning in to the Melanated Convo podcast, man. Subscribe to this shit, man. Go to the Melanated Convo on YouTube. Go to one of the digital platforms, Spotify, Overcast, Apple Podcast, all these places. The numbers on those platforms are going up a lot lately, so I appreciate everybody. Do me a favor and leave a comment, like, download, support your boy. You know what I mean? Now, last thing I want to talk about before I get in here. Wait a minute, what's more? What's something else I want to say? Because I'm rolling, family. Okay, one other thing. So I seen a video. I think this was on like the Shade Room or something, where a black man had, and I was trying to play the video on the show, so I apologize, you guys. I couldn't find it. A black man had 7 kids by 7 different women, right? And on the video, and this hit home to me. This this type of conversation is the damn near the reason why I have a platform today, right? So this brother was speaking about how he got 7 kids, 7 different women, and he was adamant about not fucking with the kids or the women because when they were pregnant, he told them, I didn't want to have kids. So he told them, I don't want to have kids. They still chose to have the kid. Fuck you, bitch. I ain't fucking, excuse my French, excuse my language, but y'all know what I mean. I'm not messing with the kids. I ain't messing with you. And he was adamant about it. And it struck a nerve in me, right? Because this is, man, I love like growing and witnessing your own growth, like being able to look back and see a version of you that you know you're not no more. Because shit, like 6, 7 years, I would have been right there with him. Like, yeah, we had sex, unprotected, woman. I said I didn't want to have a baby. You should have respected the fact that I didn't want to have a baby and had an abortion, right? That's how some men think. Now, there's sides to this. If I'm a young woman's parents and she finds herself in a position where she's pregnant and the young man isn't interested, she's not mature, I may opt to do that. Like, that's all right as adults, right? But that's for the young girl's parents and her decision to make. If you a man out here in the street, right, knowing how our community looks as black men, as black people, like like how we're deprived of resources, how a lot of things have been slanted to make sure it's unjust for us. These are fucking facts. Yeah, hey, same thing, Keon. Initially, that's still in me to say I paid child support for 16, 17 years, bro. I paid child support for hella years. I tried hella hard. I caught the bus. I caught the light rail. I did a whole bunch of shit in the name of my check being snatched 50% while I'm still trying to be there. And you see? So that didn't make me bitter, but it upset me. Like, damn, I'm doing all this. I'm trying hard. And look at the position I'm in. But what I was missing, there was like an element of this shit that I was missing, because if we talking about masculinity, if we talking about manhood, and this is my opinion, family, my seed it is the most important thing I have to offer to a woman. My seed, right? So if you're on birth control, which you should, if I was a parent of a young girl, I would make sure she would. If you're on birth control, there's several more different types of birth control and preventions of pregnancy that a woman can use opposed to a man. I'm aware of all of this. But if I'm a man, if this gonna be my seed, if I know having sex unprotected with this woman can possibly put me at a disadvantage because I'm not gonna be able to do anything. Once I give her my seed, she can do what the fuck she wanna do with it. This is the country we live in. This is where we at with it, fam. You can deny that fact if you want to, but if you're a grown man at this point, going around spreading your seed like a goddamn buck, unprotected, then getting mad when a woman have a baby, shame on you, and we got to work on you, fam. We got to work on you. Man, look, you know something I've been figuring out lately, year by year, when I look at my life, and this is me personally, looking at my life, the decisions I made, how my kids turned out, how my relationships with people have fostered over the years. That shit's on me. That shit's on me. As a man, I can't like anticipate how somebody else is going to see something. I can't dictate how somebody else is going to see something. But if we're talking about a relationship with a woman, if you really getting into your masculine shit, if you really realizing what our purpose is here, you have to guide, family. If you make a mistake and get a girl pregnant, that happens, right? If you make a mistake and get a girl pregnant, and this happens to you once where y'all unprotected, y'all was in the moment, this happens to not just our community, but this happens to everybody. You see what I'm saying? But if you do it 7 times, because we have to Be contextual. The brother I'm talking about, it was a video on Shade Room I see where a brother said he has 7 kids by 7 women, that he don't fuck with the kids because he told the women he didn't want to have kids. He told the women, I ain't shit. I don't want to have kids. I don't have no money. And they still chose to do it. So it's on them. That was an important video to me because that's a commonality amongst a lot of men. And finally I got to the point where I realized, damn, that's a horrible way to approach dating and to approach women. A horrible way. Yeah, no, you see, here's the thing. You're right, DeMonte, but I can't control what a woman does. So yes, if I had a young girl, I would tell my young girl, be protected. We gonna determine who this young man is and if we gonna have a baby by him. Like I'm gonna use that lane. You see what I'm saying? But if it's a boy, what means do I have as a man to make sure I don't have a baby? Like, let's stop the bullshit. Because look, I was a man who had 4 kids by 22 years old. Every nigga around me didn't. Every man around me wasn't hella sexually irresponsible. Every man around me wasn't running around being a buck, putting his dick everywhere. We gotta be honest. If that's how you choose to live, you can't be mad. See? You can't be doing videos talking about fuck these kids and these babies because this is a video. So these kids probably gonna see the video. So are you building? Are you destroying? Like what kind of man you trying to be? We're not talking about mistakes. All men find them. You can be like, I loved her for 9 months. Shit. I loved her and we end up having sex unprotected. We thought we loved each other for 10 minutes. You see what I'm saying? That shit happened to people. And you say, okay, cool. Let me learn from it. Because one thing I'm learning as I get older, age is like a mirage. Age means nothing at all. If you don't learn from your mistakes, you can be a 60-year-old motherfucking fool. Did you know that? Age, look, remember being young and you would see people with beards in cars, you'd be like, damn, that's an adult. No, that's just a person that's older than you. You see what I'm saying? It's a lot of people who don't learn from their fucking mistakes. If you don't learn from your mistakes, if you don't see it as a mistake, not the child, but the situation that caused the child to be in the world, if you don't see that shit as a mistake, then that's on you. As a man, we're supposed to be hunter-gatherer type of niggas, right? Ultimately, right? Even if that ain't your bag, you have to understand the guidance principle that comes with being a man. Think about this. Let's spread that shit to young people you know. Spread that to young people you know. When I was younger, I didn't know when the internet first came out, nigga, I Googled, what's a man? Like I was trying to, I knew I was doing it wrong. You know what I mean? I didn't have no signs of too many things, too much different. I knew I was doing it wrong. So I'm like, damn, something got to give. Why are they emotional about what's going on with me and frustrated with me? But I'm emotional too. If everybody's emotional, who's going to solve the damn problems? You feel me? Sometimes you got to back up and be logical and look at what your input is, because that brother, the sentiment that if I get a woman pregnant and we don't agree together to have a baby, I understand that. That I still feel that way today. A respectful, responsible, neutral woman to me would say, you know what? I'm going to make this decision with him, not in spite of him. See? Because we can't negate the fact that women be on bullshit sometime, right? They women be on bullshit and they're being spiteful. They doing it just because you don't want to. They doing it because they had family members and people around them that they've witnessed create this welfare type of mentality where, you know, if I have these kids, I'm gonna have a little income. We can't front on what's happened to us and how this system has neutralized us to a degree. So see, I'm talking to my man about what we can do to prevent it, but women be on bullshit too. So the game be like, how do you protect yourself from that then? Well, you have to wear a condom. You got to protect your seed. Like, man, let me ask you a question. Somebody hit me with this and it fucked me up. Do you be just giving your social out? Like when you go to a bar and shit, and let's say you're talking to somebody and y'all getting to know each other, do you be like, here my number, am I social? Do you be like just chilling with your partners, like, hey, everybody, take my social, just to, you know what I mean? Do you give out treat your social security number like your sperm, nigga? To keep it frank, treat your social security number the same way as your seed, family. I ain't just giving it away, right? Listen, too many of our young men will chase sex and women before they chase their purpose. This is a fact. This is a fact. Before you even consider what your purpose is on this goddamn planet, you spreading your seed because it's easier, damn near. That's a way to feel in control. That's a way to feel masculine. You know what I mean? Like, that's some deep shit, bro. We all have to realize that. We all have to realize that. Some of us didn't grow up in environments that breed these type of things, but for us that did, we gotta be aware of it, family. Quit spreading your seed. See, because look, the violence in our neighborhood, all the disenfranchisement, there's a setup that is on autopilot currently to make sure these things affect us. But what has to happen, like my brother Keon say, we got us. Like we all we need. You see what I'm saying? When are we gonna just look at each other and say, you know what? I'm gonna stop. Think about this. We're highly dysfunctional and ununified, but the entire world wants to be like us. How about that? So who are we then? If we're that powerful, disjointed, and attacked on every level, and we still have a swag and an energy that is emulated by every walk of life, right? Think about that. See? So this is the shit we need to infuse in young men, like John Morant, everything he going through. People around him need to make sure they infuse this in him. But how we start our families matter. I'm a prime example. My brother DeMonte in the chat, he can feel me too. I'm a prime example of why starting your family matters. Men, think about this. Growing up, how many of us lived in a house with our father? How many dudes do we know lived in a house with our father, right? And here's another caveat that I'm realizing. Yeah, and then you knew somebody who lived in a house with their father, mom and father, both trying hard to make things pop off, and shit was still hard. They still had problems. They still had hurdles that was very difficult to overcome. See, and this is two able-bodied people in the house together. This is just called a relationship, though. This is just how a relationship is supposed to go. You see what I'm saying? But if you have just a mom, or sometimes in a rare situation, just a dad, this is abnormal, and this causes dysfunction. So some of it is the system that affects us daily, but everybody has a decision to make. You see what I'm saying? And sometimes as parents, as older Black people, we have to be honest. Sometimes we have revisionist history. We remove how we neglected or weren't such good parents when our children were younger. We remove those years from our memory because we're doing good now, because we're successful now, because we think different now. This is true. And I don't believe in kids using what you didn't do for me as a child against the parent. But as an adult, you have to be cognizant of what they're saying. Were you not around when he was 8? Were you in jail? Were you homeless? Were you carless? Were you jobless? All of this shit we do while having a family, it affects everybody. You see what I'm saying? So that brother need to realize that you got to stop spreading your seed. If you're going around fucking everybody, even if you tell a woman, look, we doing this raw, but I don't want a baby. I don't want a family. I don't want to see. If you get to learn like the psychology of women, you'll know that that's not possible. Like you have to, a woman may say something to you, but a woman is like water. One moment she'll feel this way, one moment she'll feel that way. You know what I mean? That's something that you have to be cognizant of. You listening to what she's saying because you want something, but you're not listening to what's really going on. You see what I'm saying? So thank you for joining me for another episode of the Melanated Convo podcast, man. I had to do this thing by myself. So shout out to my brother, John Morant, man. Shout out to Chris Rock, Will Smith. I love all my brothers. Everybody, look, it's okay to give your opinion online about how you feel about people, about how you feel about things. We just should all try to avoid being malicious. You know what I mean? Because I try my best to be on code, but I've got mad at black men for shit they do, and I still do that. But we all need to get to a point where we can be cognizant of how we talk to each other and still be disappointed and give an opinion without being demonstrative or being, you see what I'm saying? Because some of the shit I was hearing about John Morant, I didn't like the angles they was taking on his father and all these different things, So let's not try to be malicious with our intent. You feel me? So this is your brother Harrison, man. Melanated Convo Podcast. I'll be back this Thursday with my sister Sonia. I'll be back. If anybody out there knows somebody, like if you know a podcast host, if you know somebody that does shows like I do, if you know somebody that's in entertainment, if you know somebody who is in the lane I'm in or would be an inspiration to our people, let me know. You feel me? Let me know. Hit me in my DM. Hit me on my email, which is melanatedconvopod@gmail.com. I'm always looking for new guests. I gotta go, y'all, but thank you for tuning into another episode of the Melanated Convo Podcast, fam. Subscribe on YouTube. If you haven't subscribed on YouTube, you're playing. Subscribe on YouTube, the Melanated Convo Pod or the Melanated Convo. Go to all the digital platforms, the Melanated Convo Podcast, where you'll find that, or my personal Facebook page, which is Harrison Anderson.